Look at this. Jim Kelly, age 24. He, of course, set the all-time professional football record for touchdown passes in his season with 44 this year. He's opposed by Greg Landry, 37 years old. Look at the gray hair. Looks like he should be the manager of the hardware store down the block or something. 16 years of professional, enjoying his professional football. You see Frank Carell, he's going to kick it off to Houston as we're just about set. Clarence Verdun, who ranks number 1 in the Western Conference with a 25.7 return average. He'll be back for Steve Carell's kick.
Frank Brown's one of the few people in the league that both kicks off for his team, field goals, extra points, and punts. One of the few people who takes on double duty and does both very well. From UCLA, here we go.
Kerrville, 26-yard line. Jim Kelly, believe it or not, with all the stats he's racked up this year, still rated number 3 in the USFL in terms of ratings.
Chuck Fusina ranks number 1 with Brian Sipe right behind him. Both of them over 100 in the ratings. And that consists of, they compare the number of passes you throw, number of interceptions to touchdowns. As you see the starting lineup for the offensive team. Kelly and Fowler is the only running back. There's the offensive line.
You won't see a tight end here for Houston. They got a couple of slot backs and 2 wideouts. Kelly will throw as he usually does to open up the game. That's Todd Fowler. Tries to bull his way up to the 30. He's taken it about the 28-yard line. Jim Fonhorst, the middle linebacker, is the man to bring him down. Here's that defensive line we're talking about. Carl Lorch, Wilbur Young, Kit Lathrop, last year's USFL's Lineman of the Year, John Lee. He leads the USFL in sacks.
He has 20 of them.
He's a guy to watch today. They are tough. We'll watch this matchup, defensive line of Arizona versus the inexperienced offensive line of Houston. Linebackers Smith, Fonhorst, Stan, White, Shields, Allen, Laird, and Bradley make up the defensive secondary for the Wranglers. 2nd and 7. Richard Johnson in motion. Kelly looking, plenty of time, pumps once, he's going to run across the 30, slides down to the 34-yard line. And Lynn, that's something that Jim is not afraid to do. When it does happen, doesn't see the guy he wants to throw it to, he's not afraid to run.
Well, he's a big kid. He didn't do a lot of running when he was at Miami, but under Darrell Davis's run-and-gun offense here, he's going to have to do something. The way he runs now is a natural lane provided by the blocking and the rollout passing protection his offensive team has set up. He always looks for that same angle every time he gets into trouble. The defensive ends are going to read a little bit more on the part of the Arizona Wranglers, try and force him to stay inside so that the 2 big tackles can reach him for the sack.
3rd and 2. Kelly will throw. He's got the first down. Ricky Sanders makes the reception. So Houston, their first down of the afternoon. We're early in the first quarter. We see it again, Lynn.
Well, Ricky Sanders just comes out from his slot back position. Nothing fancy about that. All he's trying to do is get the first down. Defensive backs have to respect the speed of all their wide receivers. You see here the stats on the season. Respect the speed of the wide receivers in as much as they have to give them a lot of room. Don't expect to see a lot of man-to-man coverage. You'll see primarily zone on the part of the Arizona Wranglers because they can't match up well with their speed.
Kelly going long. He's got Mosier. 35-yard line. Greg Mosier makes the reception, a gain of 16 yards.
Here's a combination of a strong arm, a quick receiver. Mosier's the slowest, one of the slower receivers at 4.6. Gets downfield. Look at the velocity on that ball. A straight line. This will sail over Mosier's head if he doesn't go up and get it. He's in between the corner and the safety right there. If he stayed on his feet, he could have gone all the way for a touchdown.
Well, it's funny. Look at his stats. 685 yards, 36 catches, average of 19. He's only the 4th receiver on the whole club. Kelly gives it off to Fowler. Good for a yard, maybe 2. Fonhorst again makes the tackle. George Allen. What a career, Allen.
He's had a long one.
He's the only head coach in professional history to win more than 100 games without encountering a losing season.
coming into the ballgame, they made a big deal of George having coached 4 different teams into playoff contention. Of course, his Arizona team is actually the same as Chicago last year.
That's right. The Blitz and a franchise flip came down here to Arizona last year. Kelly on 2nd and 9. Look out. Avoids some pressure. He's on the run. He'll take it across the 30. Out of bounds. 25-yard line. And the fans in Houston love it. Big John Lee runs him out at the 25-yard line. Kelly not only can throw, but he can use his head and run when he has to.
By the time you'll see Kelly again sprinting away from pressure to get out of bounds. But look at the speed of number 64, John Lee. John Lee is not far behind. Give you an idea just how quick Big John Lee is. See him right there at the top of the screen closing in on him. Kelly doesn't want to take him on. But watch Lee, number 64. He's at the top of the screen. Again, he leads his team in sacks. He takes on the block. He sees a quarterback sprinting the pocket. Then he takes an angle where he figures he can cut the quarterback off and goes for it.
Lee, one of the quickest linemen in the USFL. 1st and 10. Kelly. 14-yard line, and the Houston Gamblers offensive machine is well-oiled today. They are moving the football. Sanders, how would you like to make 101 catches and yet not be your leader on your team?
And Ricky Sanders, I like to trade jobs with him any day. Like I'll trade with Tremaine, who's a wide receiver for the Arizona Wranglers, number 2, and he had 90 catches this year.
That's right.
The most I ever had in one season with the Pittsburgh Steelers was about 71 catches.
I think that's still something to be proud of. That's not a bad total. Kelly, 4 of 4 already, 43 yards. They are measuring for the first, and they've got it. 10 minutes, 25 seconds to go in the first quarter. There is no score as Houston is marching. Jack Pardee, interesting story, Pardee and Allen. Jack played under George Allen twice in his playing career, once at Los Angeles, 66 to 70, then again when George was coaching the Redskins, 1971 to 1973. In fact, took over for George Allen as the Redskins coach back in 1978. They know each other very, very well. 1st and 10, 14-yard line. Kelly, all kinds of time. Almost intercepted out there by Carl Allen.
Well, that time, the timing on the play was destroyed. Gerald McNeil, number 13, was coming across. He had Richard Johnson coming across the middle who was trying to angle it into the end zone. But the timing being destroyed, we found McNeil right there. He hits the ground. A defensive back right there to make the play on the ball.
Now, you hear the reaction. That's because they just showed it on the big screen here. The crowd looking for perhaps some interference on Allen against McNeil.
Well, Carl Allen is a very physical defensive back. They're going to have to play the receivers physically because they can't keep up with.
9th play of the drive. It began on the Houston 26. They're now on the Arizona 14. Kelly going to run again. 10, 5. Is he in? Yes! Jim Kelly and the Gamblers on the board, not via the air, 14 yards. It's Kelly on the keeper. They're celebrating in the Astrodome already. 7-zip Houston.
Strategically, you have to establish a running game or a passing game. Houston establishes the passing game, and then they take advantage of it on plays like this. The defensive backs have to stay back to cover the receivers. Kelly is always rolling out to throw the ball. Whenever he finds the alley to the outside, he can take it. He's tough enough. He's strong enough to force it in for the last yard and the touchdown.
The veteran Tony Fritsch for the extra point. It is up, and it is good. We're alive in Houston as the Gamblers take a 7-0 lead with 9 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the first quarter. Kelly's heroes, there's plenty of them at the Astrodome today, 35,000 plus, and Lynn Swan looked like Jim might have been shaken up or a little bit winded over in the sideline a moment ago.
I didn't see him get hit, and it looked like he was trying to gasp a little bit of air. One of the plays after he had thrown the pass, he's sitting on the bench now. We'll try and find out just what the problem is, if he's just a little sick coming into the ballgame.
Dale Walters to kick off for Houston, and back to receive. That is Mark Colbert for Arizona. He's got some speed. 25, knocked down. The 27-yard line, brought down by Ron Relaford, the linebacker of Northeast Louisiana. Return of 24 yards. And Arizona will have the first opportunity on offense. Greg Landry, what a story. Landry played for Detroit and Baltimore in the NFL. In fact, the very first man, NFL veteran, to come over to the USFL when he signed with the Blitz. There you see it, Tim Spencer, Kevin Long, the guys to watch for carrying the football. Taylor, Thayer, Sullivan, Hoffman, Stadnick, and Ricker make up the offensive line. This is Timmy Spencer. Tries to go right side, gets a couple of yards. Mike Hawkins, the linebacker, brings him down.
There's no question, if you take a look at the defensive line of the Houston Gamblers, Crosby, Fitzpatrick out of Miami, Taylor, and Pete Patton, second leading sacker, with 17.5 sacks coming in today's game. Hawkins, Diallo, and Hawkins on the outside. Mitchell, Lewis, Eason, and Myers make up the secondary.
Second and 8. Long in motion. Landry pumps it off to Spencer. Gets around one man, but is unable to make it past the line of scrimmage. Good defensive play by Houston. Let's throw it down now to Jim Bergamo, who's with Jim Kelly.
All right, thank you very much, Corey. Jim, this Arizona team leads the league in sacks, and yet you avoided the rush.
Tell you, they're coming hard, and we have a lot of respect for them. It's just a matter of getting the ball and execution, and we'll move the ball down the field.
Okay, you looked a little winded there. You're taking some oxygen on the sideline. Is it that bad?
No, it's not that bad. It's just more running I want to do, but we scored, and that's the main point.
All right, congratulations, Jim.
It's 3rd and 9. Dennison and Boatner in place of Spencer and Long, which George Allen does often offensively in third down situations. Both can catch the ball very well in the backfield. This time it's thrown, and I believe deflected as Landry goes down hard. Intended for Dennison. That's Tommy Myers flipping the ball back towards the referee. And Houston's defense is held.
Well, Tommy Myers had man-to-man coverage on the receivers. Did a very, very good job. He was trying to be physical, trying to cut off the angle. And he was effective.
Tommy Myers, a long-time veteran for the New Orleans Saints, played there for 10 years. A Pro Bowler back in 1979. Gerald McNeil, who last week ran back his first punt return for touchdown of the year, 43 yards. Frank Corral will punt. Frank handles both the place kicking and the punting duties for Arizona. Low kick. McNeil will have a chance to run back at about the 18. Avoids one man. He's got some room. Almost up to the 30-yard line before he's forced out by Selwyn Drain. So Jim Kelly and company will have their second offensive possession from the 29-yard line. The winner today advances to the Western Conference Final. Next weekend they'll take on the Los Angeles Express. The Express, of course, in that incredible 3-overtime game yesterday, defeating Michigan 27-21. Jim Kelly, quick pass. That's Sanders.
I'll tell you one thing. Sanders ducked just under Laird and Farnhorst to get away from what would have been one of those bone-crunching tackles.
Like a
little quick slant.
Like a third baseman line drive.
Watch Sanders. He just ducks right there. And Laird delivers a blow to Farnhorst.
That's the way they wanted to work that out. 3 catches, 20 yards for Ricky Sanders. Fastest man on this Houston ball club. And it's Scott McGee, number 88, third leading receiver there. 2nd and 5. Kelly again. That is McGee at the 48-yard line. Another first down. Houston. One thing I've noticed so far today, Lynn, is the defensive pressure on Kelly has not been great.
Well, it hasn't been great. Give some credit to the offensive line and the intelligence receivers for just executing their game plan. But this is not the situation that George Allen wants for his defensive team. All right? He wants to be able to control this offensive team, not have them go down the field and get big chunks. And when you get 10 yards or 9 yards to play, that's a big chunk.
Arizona very proud of the fact they lead the USFL in quarterback sacks with 73. Little move on the defensive line. Kelly rolling left, flips it over. It's intercepted. That is Ed Smith. 40, 35, 30. Going to be knocked out of bounds at the 14-yard line, but there is a flag on the play way back at the Arizona 42.
Hold on. Is that Jim Kelly? No. There's a player that's injured for the Houston Gamblers on the sideline, one of the offensive linemen. There's also a flag on the field. I think we're going to get a pass interference call, and we do, against the Arizona Wranglers.
Might be on Kit Lathrop. We saw some movement there before the play, but I think the flag was afterwards, wasn't it?
Yeah, Kit Lathrop had jumped offsides, got back in time. What it's going to be is it'll be pass interference. The receiver, the intended receiver, was decked.
Let's listen in.
Pass interference on a defense. First down.
Didn't tell us who.
That's 70 Lathrop. Experienced ball player. He jumped off sides, but got back in time. See the injured player on the sideline.
Hard to make out his number from here. Is it? Could be Frank Khalil. I guess it is. The center.
56. No. 67.
It's being administered to down at about the 14-yard line. And Jack Pardee looks on. Came back and tried to make the play against Ed Smith, who picked off that football from Jim Kelly after the receiver was knocked down. Kelly walking over. Houston will have the football at about the 38-yard line. There's a break in the action. We'll be back with more. Arizona and Houston at the Astrodome.
Jim Lampley in New York, just as Houston did. Birmingham scored on its first possession. Here was the key play, 4th down. With a yard to go, they hit a 29-yard pass on play action down the middle to Cribbs. He didn't get in, but Stout scored on a sneak, and it's 7-0 Birmingham over Tampa Bay. Now back to Corey McFerrin.
So Birmingham fighting for the right to play Philadelphia for the Eastern Conference Championship here. Houston leads 7-0. They're working on Frank Khalil, the center on the sideline. Greg Davidson, the ball game to replace him. This is Fowler on the draw play. Booming. Inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. Fowler, a great story. The 332nd player selected in the USFL draft. He's gained over 1,000 yards this year.
And he played tight end. Was drafted, came in here to Houston. They didn't need a tight end, so they made him a running back. He came in when Sam Harrell had scored 15 touchdowns and had a 200-yard game early in the season, was injured, took over in 10 ball games, gained 1,000 yards, scored 11 touchdowns, and had a game where he gained 209 yards.
Sam is back, but he doesn't have his job. First down. Kelly lets it rip to the sidelines, overthrown to Ricky Sanders. Make it Clarence Verdun.
Well, that time it was Boobin, number 63, who came in and applied the pressure. Mark Boobin.
Third down for Jim Kelly. 5,219 yards in the season. The only quarterback who's had more in any professional football experience was Warren Moon, who will be playing right here in Houston next year.
John Lee, their starting defense, is in his out of the ballgame. Mark Boobin has replaced him. Hope it's not because of an injury.
3rd and 3. Kelly. Intercepted. Luther Bradley picks it off. Brings it back to near the 25-yard line. Bradley, he's got 5 interceptions on the year. He's the leader for Arizona. This ball looked like it was going right to Luther all the way.
Well, when you put the ball up in the air so many times, you're going to get some of them picked off. Kelly was intercepted 26 times throughout the season compared to the 44 touchdown passes he threw. And, of course, Luther Bradley, you may recall, in 1983 against the Tampa Bay Bandits, picked off 6 passes in 1 ball game.
The game Luther will never forget.
He took my head off, too, when I was a senior at Notre Dame. I was at USC. He was at Notre Dame.
Right. 1st and 10. 29. That's Lenny Willis in motion. The fake to Spencer. Landry going to put it up. He whipped it out there for Paul Ricker, the tight end. There's going to be a flag on the play.
Lewis and Myers were 2 of the men in the vicinity. I don't know what Tommy Myers.
Pass interference. Crowd doesn't appreciate the call, as you can tell.
One of the great advantages, Corey, of having an outstanding group of receivers at practice day to day is that your defensive backs get tough competition.
Pass interference. Number 25,
each day at practice. That was Will Lewis. So they're accustomed to seeing the fast receivers, covering them daily at practice, man-to-man coverage. Now when they come into a ball game and they play opponents' teams, they're prepared.
Spencer on the pitch, not a lot of room. Kiki Diala comes up and makes the hit. Kiki playing excellent football. Out of the University of Texas, 6'1", 225, the most consistent linebacker on this club.
And you see right there some temper starting to flare a little bit. These are the divisional playoffs.
That tends to happen a little more often when money is on the line of prestige, I would think.
When the big ball games, divisional playoffs, knowing that when you lose, you go home. And you have to start looking towards next year to build towards a championship. You go after it with a little more zest, a little more fervor.
Tim Spencer and Kevin Long both gained over 1,000 yards this year. The first tandem in pro football history to gain over 1,000 yards 2 consecutive years. Landry, 2nd and 11. Wants to throw. He's got some time. Intended for Ricker. Doesn't get him, but flags are thrown again. And I believe it's interference again. This time it might be on Diala.
Yeah, I think it was on Kiki Diala. The receiver was coming across the field. You see Kiki right there in the center. He just faded away. He trips him right there, pushes him in the back. No chance. The official was right on top of it. It's a good call.
So, Arizona in Houston territory, ball on the 46-yard line.
Arizona came in this ball game.
Number 31 on the defense. First down.
Being penalized 154 times for 1,182 yards. And that's not real good at all.
No, and so far it's Houston that's been making the errors.
It's Houston's making the errors. I'm reading the wrong column here.
Well, you're right, but I mean, Arizona's known for those penalties, and so far it's been the other way around. Some movement, and I believe Arizona's offensive line moved first. David Huffman, the big guy at Notre Dame, right guard, I believe was the man who moved and drew Cleveland Crosby across. That is the call. Yeah, one of my favorite names, Cleveland Pittsburgh Crosby. Isn't that great?
What? I'm sitting here looking for my stats here.
Come on, find the stats.
I wanted to find the stat for you on penalties. Houston has been penalized 148 times for 1,193 yards. So they're fairly close.
Very close. First and 15. After the 5-yard assessment. Ball is loose. Landry jumps on it. And I believe he's come up with a football. Arizona ball. George Allen on the sideline. Offensively, aside from the interference penalties, Arizona has yet to really start to click. He's worried about his center, Jerry Sullivan, who's on the sideline, been replaced by Tom Piette. Landy with a 63% completion average, which ties him with Jim Kelly over the regular season as the number 2 most accurate passer in the USFL. 2nd and 17. Ball in the Houston, or I should say the Arizona 47. Landry. Incomplete. Larry Douglas hit him in the hands and popped out. Will Lewis on the coverage, and Douglas is disgusted with himself. Should have had the football.
Now, Southern University, Larry Douglas was in the Pittsburgh Steeler camp. And here's a receiver who has about 4.3 speed also. Right there. You see the ball just bounces off his hands. He's got his hands taped up quite a bit around the fingers. I don't know if he's got a problem with his hands or they've been dislocated, but certainly Larry Douglas should have caught the pass.
Total yards so far, Arizona -2. Houston 99. 3rd and 17. You saw Houston moving on the line. This is Landry from one man. He connects. That is Dennison. And Dennison slides to the 37 of Houston, close to the first down.
Dennison, number 21, number 43 is Mac Boltner. They like to put these two running backs in obvious passing situations. They're excellent receivers.
I believe Fitzpatrick jumped offside for Houston. Good shot at Doug Dennison, formerly played for the Dallas Cowboys.
Kutztown State in Pennsylvania. Never been there before.
The offense, number 73 downfield. Penalties offset. Replay third down.
Mark Stevenson was downfield. A penalty against him. He's an offensive guard. The offsides against Fitzpatrick cancel each other out. They're going to play it again. 3rd and 17.
And Landry gets another chance because on that last third down play, they came up short.
Jerry Sullivan's the center for Arizona, has a hip pointer. He's heading for the dressing room, but they do expect him to return this afternoon. Landry. That's Willis in motion. Again, 3rd and 17. Going to put it up. He does so. Up in the air. It is incomplete. Is there a flag? No. Mike Mitchell is back there.
Mike Mitchell back on the play. Tremaine Johnson was the wide receiver. Number 24, Will Lewis, also back in the coverage. There was a blitz on. Tremaine Johnson will go down and break to the inside looking for the post. You see him going down. On the watch, there'll be another player coming over across the top here. That's number 37, Tommy Myers. They sandwich him, break up the play.
Good coverage. Frank Corral, the punt again. McNeil is back. McNeil going to grab it at about the 18. He is hit immediately by Randy Johnson. A couple of flags. 33-yard punt.
One flag at the line of scrimmage, Corey, which might mean someone's offside to just jump. Another flag was thrown back in the vicinity of the punter. And I didn't really see any contact being made with Frank Corral. Illegal procedure on offense and holding on the punting team.
Trying to confuse us there for a second. We've got 3 minutes and 32 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Houston leads Arizona 7-0. And Frank Corral heads back out. Better put the helmet on, Frank.
Don't make him punt it again, trying to get Gerald McNeil the ball and a chance to use his speed. You have to believe that the strategy for George Allen.
Illegal formation on the offense. 6 men on the line. Penalty is declined. Holding. Number 58. Accepted. 4th down.
His strategy has to be to get out in front, then possess the ball offensively to keep it away from the offense of Houston. Right now, he has not been able to do it. Houston scored first and have a 7-point lead, and he finds his team playing the football again.
Now McNeil,
Houston should have very good field position.
And McNeil's not the kind of guy you want to give second chance to, but he fumbles the football and grabs it just in time before he's hit at the 31-yard line. Very dangerous. Alan Clark, the first man down there to hit McNeil. 39-yard punt, a return of 3. Houston football. Gamblers lead it by a score of 7-0 late in the first quarter. Back at the Astrodome in Houston. The Gamblers looking to make it 8 straight. Haven't lost since early May. That was an overtime defeat to Michigan up at the Silverdome. In fact, Houston, 3 of their 5 losses have been by field goals in overtime. So the record could be even more gaudy than 13-5. They lead right now 7-0. They've got the football on their own 31, and that tells the story so far. In fact, Landry's only completed 1 pass for 1 yard. Houston's defense doing the job. This is Todd Fowler. Powers up the middle. Got some good blocking. Ed Smith makes the tackle.
Fowler ran out of the grasp of number 70, Kit Lathrop. Had a chance to stop him in the backfield, so Todd demonstrated a little bit of his leg drive on that run. Stephen F. Austin.
Probably one of the toughest guys on the Houston team. Likes to mix it up. Nickel backfield in place for Arizona. 2nd and 5. 2:32 to go. First quarter. That's Sanders in motion. Again, Fowler pounding up close to the 40. He's a couple yards shy of the first down. Stan Smith and Mark Boobin combined to stop Fowler. Stan White, I should say.
Now here's a tough situation for the Arizona defense. Most teams, third and short, if they make an offensive line change, put in the power backs, you can substitute, put in the goal line defensive team and go head-to-head. With Houston, they keep the receivers in the ball game. They only have about 8 running plays. Fowler may get the ball. They may throw a quick pass. You can't gear up for anything in this situation.
Quick call. It was Kelly, and they've done that several times this year. And that's the kind of thing you got to be prepared for. You don't know what they're going to do. They're unpredictable.
That's right. Kelly just comes up to the center, came up to the center on that play. You know, just tapped him on the rear end. He snaps the ball. He follows him before the defensive line is set. They pick up a first down. No wear and tear. It's a free play for the rest of the people on offense. You see him right there. Everybody else just stands there. The guards come in and try and protect him from defensive ends, or tackles rather, pinching down. Kelly easily picks up the first down.
It's not illegal, and you're guaranteed at least 2 yards, usually 3 on the play. Kelly, a little bit of rush this time, gets it off. It is caught. A nice catch. Clearance, Verdun at the 37-yard line. Bruce Laird is there immediately, and Verdun had the sky to bring that ball down. 20-yard gain.
And he had the sky while he was jumping up in the air. John Lee was giving Jim Kelly a little rest time. Watch this hit. He takes after he releases the ball. He ends up on the ground. Verdun goes up. These guys are small, but they keep going up in the air for the tough catches. They have taken more shots like that throughout the season, yet none of them has really been hurt seriously.
You got to be quick. You got to be on the small side, but you also have to be tough to withstand the kind of hits these guys get every game. Johnson in motion, ball on the 37-yard line. This is Kelly. Looking for he almost intercepted out there. Bruce Laird is there along with Stan White. Incomplete pass.
Along with Eddie Brown and Luther Bradley, there were 5 defensive players for Arizona in the vicinity of the pass. Only 1 receiver for the Houston Gamblers.
We should mention that the regular left quarterback for Arizona not playing today, Frank Minifield. Ted Walton replacing him today. Minifield out with an injury. 20 seconds to go, first quarter. 2nd and 10. Ball is on the 36-yard line. So they're going to run. Now he flips it out to Johnson, and Johnson's going nowhere.
Johnson also got hit a little bit by number 63, Mark Rubin.
Right.
Who came over. 40 Laird, you see walking back. Experienced veteran safety.
Johnson, professional football's all-time single-season reception leader, yet to be a factor today. And that is the end of the first quarter of play. Houston's offense struggling a bit now. They lead it 7-0. Second quarter coming up.
Well, Houston came out. They knew what they wanted to do. They went down and executed, scored their points. But since then, the defenses have flexed their muscle. Kelly's been stopped pretty much since then.
See if that doesn't change. 3rd and 7. Rifles one for McGee on the far sideline, but he couldn't hang on. So Houston's going to have to give the ball back. Lance Shields with the coverage on the far side. Here's the stats for the first quarter. Look at Arizona's rushing yardage, passing yardage, total yardage of -2 compared to 133.
Well, Arizona's only had the ball for 2 possessions, and the first one was 3 downs and punt. The second one was not much better. There are a lot of penalties on that particular drive, and there you see it. Minus territory for everything.
Folks, they're not going to punt. 4th and 7. Gives you an idea of the kind of confidence they have in the offense. Sanders in motion. That is him. And he caught the ball. Stan White is there. Kelly looked for Sanders, looked for a moment like he might gather it in, but couldn't quite do it.
Well, Sanders was free there for a split second. Had he reached up with both hands and just pulled this one in, it would have been a catch. He goes right there. He should have gotten the other hand up there, too. He tries to one-hand it. He's in the crowd. No one really hits him that hard, but Stan White comes across just to give him some problems. Say hello.
Ricky says, I'd like to do that one again. So Arizona takes over.
Actually going in for 4th down, 4th and 7, going for it, as a statement that you believe your defense can hold this team even though you're giving them good field position beyond the 30-yard line.
Landry at the controls. That's Spencer. Another fumble, and Landry again falls on it. Second time we've seen that happen. And you got to believe with Sullivan not in the ball game that maybe there's a little bit of a problem being used to the center.
Well, they've been on the sideline, so that Tom Piet could have worked out with him. And you look at the score, Tampa Bay gets 3 points, closed the gap on the Birmingham Stallions. They should have been on the sideline working on that snap, so it shouldn't be a problem. Right now, it's just a little bit ragged on the part of Arizona's offense.
2nd and 14. Loss of 4 on the missed snap. Long is 33. Spencer is 46. They give the Long. Good block from Spencer. Cuts back. 34-yard line where Tommy Myers knocks him down.
Andy Hawkins also the back in there. Kevin Long gets up there. That's number 46. Spencer out in front. He gets a good block. Kicking the corner all the way out. Now, Kevin Long just takes too long turning the corner. That hole was there for a long time. He just seemed like he couldn't get his body turned up there to take advantage of it.
3rd and 8. Doug Dennison, Mac Boatner in the backfield. Landry telegraphing it to Dennison, and he is crunched. Kiki Diella, 25-yard line. And you knew what that play was as soon as the ball was snapped.
Well, we've seen Arizona run that play so many times. Trying to get the ball out very quickly to Dennison. Short pass. Sending the receivers deep downfield to clear it out to give him running room. That time, Kiki read the play. Good sign that the young man was doing his homework during the week.
Kiki, number 1 by far on the Houston defensive unit. The number of tackles of 95 coming in. Corral the punt. McNeil is back. Short punt, 34-yard line. McNeil going to try to run it back. Slides up for about 4 yards. Larry Douglas makes the tackle. And Houston's back on offense. It's 7-0. The Gamblers lead. We're early in the second quarter. The Wranglers and the Gamblers fighting to meet Los Angeles next week in the Western Conference Finals. Jack Pardee on the sideline. He's in charge of the defense. Mouse Davis is in charge of the offense. And Mouse Davis had some contacts from some other USFL clubs because of his outstanding work with this offense, and just yesterday agreed to an extension of his contract. Jim Kelly's happy about that. And Jim Kelly unloads. Wide open. McNeil cuts back. Let him go. Tackle at the 34-yard line.
And he lost 6 yards on the play.
Ted Walton came up. McNeil wanted to use the entire width of the field to get around him. Didn't work, but a 27-yard gain for Houston.
Now right here, they just send 2 receivers down the sideline. 1 inside the numbers, 1 right on the sideline. Kelly reads the defense, just pick the man that's open. Now watch here, he starts to go back. He's looking for some running room to use all of his speed. But this is not a punt return, Gerald. You're not back at Baylor. Run upfield, take care of the yards, get what you can, and get out of bounds.
Gerald, Baylor's all-time leading receiver, by the way. This is Fowler, close to the 30-yard line, and the crowd is once again alive here at the Astrodome. Let's go down now to Jim Bergamo. Jimmy.
All right, thank you, Corey. With me, linebacker Kiki Diallo. Kiki, the team doesn't seem to be showing any playoff pressure. Don't you guys know you're an expansion team?
Well, I don't know, but, we have to play with a lot of confidence and, play our game and work our game plan.
Well, you say you're not doing anything special. You're just working your game plan. What is that? Contain Landry in the pocket?
Well, basically to get some rush on him, put some heat on him. You got to take away True Man. You got to take away Spencer, and after that, just hope that we can confuse Landry.
Incomplete pass. That's Greg Mosier with some excellent coverage from Lance Shields. You hear some boos. They want an interference call.
Oh, he had Greg Mosier on single coverage, man-to-man with Lance Shields. Lance Playing a bit of a shadow technique just inside Moser as he goes down the sideline. He had his back turned towards the ball. Moser had the opportunity to go up for it here. Should have been a catch. But just in the air, could maintain the concentration.
It's 3rd and 7. Ball at the 30-yard line. Kelly running out of the pocket. 25, 23. He's got the first down.
I got to tell you, number 52, Stan White, took out Lathrop on the play. He took him out on the play. Houston has 4 rushing first down, and Kelly has all 4 of them. But watch him when he goes to scramble, 52. That's the Stan White, the linebacker. He's going after him. Watch him trip here. He takes out Lathrop, clears it, and then he almost goes out of bounds too soon. Tight ropes along the sideline, picks up the first down.
So Jim Kelly's legs and not his arm, a major story so far today. First down, 21-yard line. Fowler pumping those legs up the middle, close to the 15-yard line. Stan White, Mark Boobin are there. A moment ago, Bergamo was talking to Jimmy Bergamo was talking to Kiki Diallo about the expansion club, and don't you know, you are an expansion club, you're supposed to be nervous. Houston is the first pure expansion club in the history of pro sports to actually win a division title in its first year on the field. This man is one major reason why. In fact, that 7-game winning streak Houston is on right now began when Fowler first rushed for 140 yards 7 games ago. He's really been a difference in this club. Fowler again. Good for about 3.
Brings up a wonderful 3rd down situation. It's about 3rd and 3. They can give it to Fowler and run the football, throw the short pass, maybe go for it all. Fowler, once he gained 100 yards in a single game. Birmingham going up 14-3 by 11 over the Tampa Bay Bandits. Really gave the opposing team something to think about defensively.
And 3rd and 2, as you say, Lynn, they could very well throw it to the end zone. Kelly, look out, he's tackled. First quarterback sack of the day for Arizona. Carl Lorch is the man to bring him down, and a perfect time for the Wranglers to come up with a sack.
Carl Lorch from Hawaii, went to the University of Southern California, a former teammate of mine, played for the Washington Redskins. Just comes in, Carl says, I think Carl was surprised. He actually caught Kelly right there.
That's his 14th sack of the year. He's number 2 on the club behind Kit Lathrop. Fritz is on. He'll try a 38-yarder. He's 6 of 9, 30 to 39 yards. This one looks to be perfect, and it is. Tony Fritz with his 22nd field goal of the year, and Houston adds 3 points to their total. Tony Fritz and the Gamblers. Look at Tony. He loves it. They're out in front, 10-zip.
Again in New York, so much attention has been paid to Steve Young's running, but Cliff Stout deserves another mention here. This is Stout's 2nd running touchdown today, a 2-yarder set up by a fumbled punt. It has given Birmingham a 14-3 lead over Tampa Bay. It's the 11th time this year that Stout has run one in for a TD. Let's go back to Corey McFerrin.
Talk about quarterbacks running at Steve Young yesterday, Cliff Stout in the Birmingham-Tampa Bay game, and here you got Jim Kelly, quarterbacks, using their legs today as Fritz kicks off out of bounds at about the 22-yard line. Walters kicked off, Walters, normally exclusively the punter, today is doing some kicking chores as well. Greg Landry on the sideline.
Well, right now, Landry needs to get into the ball game to get together one drive with some consistency here in the second quarter. There's 8 minutes and 42 seconds on the clock. He can put together any kind of drive he wants to as long as he ends up in the end zone. Whether he scores quickly through the air, whether he utilizes his running game, it doesn't make a difference. What he does not want to do is have his ball club way behind the Houston Gamblers.
Although if we go back to the game 2 months ago, Arizona trailed, 24-3 in the first half. They came back 24-all, but of course, they'd rather not have to do it that way. Tolbert, 25-yard line, up to about the 28. Return of 23 yards. Andy Mellentry brings him down. So, Arizona will take over. See if they can't get their offense on track here. They're going to fight it out for a spot on the U.S. Olympic team. Guys like Mark Breland, Tyrell Biggs should be a lot of fun. That is coming along. And Kevin's not going anywhere. Cleveland Crosby even lost his helmet over that one.
I'll give you credit to the people on the defensive line of Houston. They've done an excellent job so far of containing in the first half of football. Tony Fitzpatrick, the left tackle. Isaiah Taylor, the right tackle. 6'4", 270 pounds. Fitzpatrick, small, 245, 6 feet tall, but very, very quick.
Very aggressive. Always moving on that line. 2nd and 8. That's Spencer in motion. Long, the sole running back. Landry fires. It's going to be caught. Intercepted. Calvin Eason. There he goes. Down to the 15-yard line. The ball deflected. Eason takes over, and Houston has a golden opportunity to put some more points on the board.
Eason is a strong safety. He was trying to play underneath that, but it was the right cornerback, number 24, Will Lewis. They came in, made the hit, and tipped it up in the air. You see Greg Landry going back to pass. He fires it. Watch number 24 come in. Right there. Pops it up in the air. Eason picks it off and takes off down the sideline. Oh, Greg Landry, the Arizona Wranglers, could ill afford to turn the ball over, trailing by 10 points. Now, the Houston Gamblers have the ball at the 16-yard line. Look out for Jim Kelly. It's going in the air.
So Eason takes a breather while Jim Kelly comes on. Fowler is nailed in the backfield. That's Lorch in there, along with Lathrop.
Well, just like a rookie not to put the ball in the air after you tell the world he's going to pass the football. The defensive line, we talked about age early in our broadcast. The defensive line of Arizona has been on the football field a long time this afternoon. It is going to have its effect late in the ball game. Houston keeps wearing them down.
Looks like Kelly almost had a smile on his face there. 2nd and 10. Look out. He's down. John Lee, the #1 sack man in the USFL, with a few words for Jim Kelly. The fans don't like it for John. His 21st sack of the year came in with 20. Hey, John, what a performance this year on that defensive line.
Well, of course, a partisan crowd here didn't like to see Kelly go, doesn't like to see Kelly go down at all, but John Lee was not happy at the fact that he had Kelly in his grasp. He could have stopped right there if the official had blown the whistle. The official didn't. He had to take him down to the ground, and Kelly looked like he was kicking quite a bit down there. And defensive linemen don't like to kick.
Didn't go down easily, did he? 3rd and 17. Can Houston convert on the turnover? Again, pressure on, and Kelly is taken down again. Ehrman and Lorch combined.
That's a half sack in the old statistical column for each man. But they save a touchdown. Now Tony Fritz comes out into the field. We'll see if they can get 3 points out of it. Excellent defense that time by the Arizona Wranglers. The defense has been playing up to par. Offense not being able to sustain any kind of drive for Arizona has put the Wranglers in a hole.
Defensive line for Arizona, well known as the best defensive line in the league. They're showing their stuff now. 2 big sacks after Houston takes over at the 16. A 47-yard attempt from Fritz. It's no good. Fritz's attempt fails. Houston unable to convert from the 16-yard line after the pick from Eason. So Houston remains on top 10-0. Arizona may have some momentum.
Lastly, again in New York, more action from Birmingham. Now it is Tampa Bay, which has heated up. This pass from John Reeves to Wilfred Morgan has set up a touchdown pass from Reeves to Willie Gillespie. Same combo for a 2-point conversion. That narrowed the lead to 14-11. Watch the late hit on Morgan as he went out of bounds. The extra yardage for the penalty moved the ball into scoring position for Tampa Bay. And it's 14-11 as we go back to Corey McFerrin.
Houston just missing on the 47-yard field goal attempt by Fritsch. Watch it, just barely wide left.
Well, soccer-style kickers very often end up hooking the ball, right or left, one way or the other. Tony. He's wishing it in, but not today, Tony, not today.
Tony Fritsch, the USFL scoring leader, came up with a big game last week and shakes his head for a camera. In fact, he narrowly edged out Herschel Walker to lead. Landry, a bullet pass. That's Tremaine Johnson. Tremaine Johnson, one of the truly great receivers in football. Last year led the USFL in receptions. 13-yard pickup, Landry to Tremaine.
He was a gifted young man out of England. Another product by the great college football coach, Eddie Robinson. See where Arizona has started its possessions at their own 29, 25, 33, and 30, and the results: 3 punts and an interception.
Spencer drops the football. Are they going to give it to Houston, or was he down?
Well, they should have blown the whistle earlier to call him down. It was a late whistle. I believe they will mark the ball right there. Give Spencer the credit for the yards and Arizona possession of the football.
Calvin Eason in there trying to come up with that football. 47-yard line of Arizona. Sets up a 2nd and 5. We've got 4 minutes and 15 seconds to go here in the first half. Houston in front, 10-0. Greg Landry and the Wranglers, number 3 offense in the USFL, trying to get it together. Big hit. Eason on long, and Calvin's having a heck of a day, isn't he, Lynn?
Well, Eason came up, close to the line of scrimmage, showing blitz, and he got a good jump on the ball on the snap of the football. He just came through, was able to get into the backfield. You see right there, Eason going through to the left of the screen, meets Kevin Long just as he takes a handoff. He has a little difficulty in dropping that one.
Eason, a local guy. The University of Houston, 5'11", 195, 3rd and 7. See what Landry can come up with here. Lets it rip. That's Alvin Clark. Knocked out, 30-yard line, deep in Houston territory. Alvin Clark, first reception of the game. Allen, the 3rd guy behind Spencer and Dennison, doesn't play all that much. Good for 34 yards.
This is the kind of plays I believe Arizona will have to execute earlier in the ball game, and not just in obvious passing situations. It's a crossing route. They have Clark matched up on Ayala linebacker. He should have the speed to get away from him. The man we haven't heard from today yet is number 86, Paul Ricker. He is a big, tough tight end.
Biggest offensive play of the day for Arizona. 31-yard of Houston. Landry wants to go up top again. Flips it off to Long. Long avoids Hosea Taylor and brought down by Tony Fitzpatrick after gaining about 2.
Well, that time he got a break. Number 61, Tim Thayer, was a left guard who was blocking on Hosea Taylor, and he was able to get back in position himself just well enough to take his momentum downfield, so he could not make the tackle on Kevin Long.
Kevin Long, of course, played for the New York Jets for 5 years. Solid player there. The University of South Carolina. Here's Landry on 2nd and 9. He's going to run across the 30. Slides down to the 22, very close to the first down. Tony Fitzpatrick is there to make the stop, and we'll see where the officials mark the ball.
Well, Tony Fitzpatrick, the left tackle, he's there to make the stop because he's being blocked very well at the line of scrimmage.
It's going to be shy. It looks like from here.
2 minutes and 10 seconds you see on the clock there. They look to go down to 2 minutes, and Arizona will not take the play. before the 2-minute warning.
Play stops. 2-minute warning. Landry will face a 3rd and 1 situation on the 22-yard line when we come back. 3rd and 1 for Arizona. 22-yard line. They would love to go in the ball game. Short only 3 points. They'd like to score here, get the first down. Let's see what Landry does. Spencer and Long the backs. Long gets it. First down, Arizona. As he powers across the 20, Fitzpatrick is the man to make the stop.
Well, Fitzpatrick tripped him up. Hosea Taylor was there also trying to stop him. Kevin Long was able to just step over him and dive for the necessary yards.
So the Wranglers on the 20-yard line with 1:44 to go.
Zach Pardee knows he's in the battle today.
Just 7 yards so far. Movement on the left side. That was Rob Taylor, the left tackle. And Pete Caton. See if we can see it. There it is.
Number 75 on the offense. Still first down.
So, and move it back a little bit.
First, an untimely penalty there.
Oh, no kidding. 1st and 15 from the 25. This is the 8th play of this offensive drive for Arizona. Started back on the Wrangler 29-yard line. Pitch. Spencer wants to throw. Looking to the end zone. Not going to find anybody. Gets out of a couple men's grasp and gets back to about the 20. And the Arizona Wranglers going for a little razzle-dazzle with 1:25 to go, and the coverage was solid.
Spencer did everything he could to get away. You'll see number 93, Hosea Taylor, coming up. Oops, that's number 34, Calvin Easton, that comes up, forces it. He gets away to the outside. Taylor misses a tackle. Actually picked up 4 yards on the play, and it looked like he could be thrown or sacked.
Arizona, their offense has been potent of late, averaging 38.5 points a game. The last 4 games, they won 4 straight, yet to score here in the first half. Landry, rookie, bullet pass over the middle. Paul Ricker makes his first catch. Andy Hawkins is there. It'll be 3rd and about 5. Clock ticking down. About 1:05 remaining right now.
Dennison coming into the ball game. Alan Clark, Larry Douglas, Paul Ricker coming out. Tim Spencer coming out.
All right, we had the big 3rd and 1 play a moment ago from the 20. It's 3rd and 5 from the 15. 46 seconds, 45 seconds. That's Willis in motion. The crowd is alive. Landry looks left side. Incomplete pass. Doug Dennison, the intended receiver.
Hollis Hall, number 25, was the defensive back. That shadowed him going to the outside. The tough angle for Dennison to make the catch. He's trying to run away from the defensive back. Not to slow down, maintain the speed. Then get his head and shoulders turned around so he can see where the ball's coming from. Landry had to put a lot on it, throw it just high enough to get over the head of the defensive back, Hollis Hall.
32-yard attempt from Frank Terrell as Arizona attempts to get on the board before the first half comes to a close. From 32, it is up, and it is good. Terrell's 12th field goal of the year, and Arizona is on the board. 34 seconds to go. It's Houston 10 and Arizona 3.
Illegal block
against Houston.
Now, Corey, there are only 28 seconds showing on the clock. In most cases, I'd say, everyone at home would say it, anybody would think it, no possibility.
Illegal block, low to the waist in the back during the return, number 54, first down.
Of Houston scoring any points or doing anything of any consequence at this moment. But let's not forget, they have receivers, Sanders and Johnson, who are 4-2 sprinters. They get them the ball in the lower room. Look out.
28 seconds to Houston is about a minute and a half to most teams. Pitch. Fowler. To about the 18. And I think this time we're going to see him run out the clock. A little bit unusual for the Gamblers.
Joe Ehrman is already headed in towards the locker room.
Gamblers not living up to their moniker here. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. That will do it for the first half. The Gamblers and the Wranglers head for the locker rooms, and Houston leads it after 1 half of play. Gamblers 10, the Wranglers 3. We'll be back with today's halftime activities after we take time for a message and a word from our local station.
Bill Walters gets ready to kick off for the Houston Gamblers.
10-3, Gamblers lead. Mark Tolbert is number 85, 5'10", 175. And that is him. Torpedoed at about the 27-yard line. Let's go back down and see if Jim can talk to us now for real. Jim, are you there?
Corey, I've got my voice back. How about that? What I was going to say is that despite being dominated statistically and being down 10-3 at halftime, I think the Wranglers feel better about their position in this ball game at the moment than the Gamblers do. They were cheering on the sideline for their own teammates near the end of the first half. They're pumped up and ready to go. Again, I think they feel better being down only 7 points than the Gamblers do being up 7 points.
Well, if you're within 7 points of the Houston Gamblers, you are close.
Greg Landry producing but 37 yards in the first half via the air. Fake dispenser, all kinds of time, lets it rip. Tremaine Johnson cannot make the play.
Greg Landry buried that pass in the ground. Tremaine Johnson was wide open, running away from coverage of number 24, Will Lewis. He also had a receiver that was just blitzing. I think that was Lenny Willis downfield, wide open. You see Tremaine Johnson here. He'll break to the inside. Good move. Trying to cut under. Oh, holding there. Way to go, Tremaine. Nice little veteran move, but the ball's too low for him to hang on to.
Something you probably learned from watching you over the years, Len.
One of the things I did best. Holding.
Second and 10. 26-yard line. Long. Up to about the 30. Kiki Diala makes the stop.
Take a look at something that's happening now on this drive for Arizona, and I'll give you something to compare it to that happened in the first half with the Houston offense. Houston's offense, the short passes to the receivers, 3 or 4 yards. They pick up a couple more before they tackle. Short ball control passes. On first down, the Arizona Wranglers tried to go for the big one. When I say big, anything over 10 yards. It went incomplete. A running play on second down. Now they're looking at 3rd and 6.
Second catch of the day for Clark. First down, Arizona at their own 47-yard line. Tommy Myers makes the hit, and Clark 2 times a day come up with some big receptions for Arizona. 19-yard gain.
Well, here's a kid who didn't play a lot during the regular season. He gets a chance to play here on passing situations for the Arizona Wranglers, and he's trying to make the most of it. He takes on Tommy right there and just tries to deck him, run through him, and pick up more yards.
In fact, Clark, in our statistics given to us by Arizona, didn't make a catch all year and only rushed the ball 4 times. Landry looking for Lenny Willis. Couldn't find him.
Well, he found him, but the timing was bad on the route. And in a situation like that, you don't know whether it's bad timing by Greg Landry and releasing the ball too soon, or whether Lenny Willis took the pass route too far downfield before he made his break to the outside. Had he taken that pass route, about 3 yards less downfield and broke to the outside, it would have timed up just perfectly.
Second and 10, 49-yard line for Arizona. That's Spencer. Landry looking. Tony Fitzpatrick. 6 feet, 245 pounds, the rookie out of the University of Miami.
Oh, and Tony is taunting David Huffman, the right guard, number 68, after making that sack. Fitzpatrick is number 62. He goes over the guard. He's rolling in on all fours. Now you see him coming there, grabbing Landry from behind. When Tony got out of the pile, he started backing up as if he had 6 shooters on his hips and shooting at David Huffman. Huffman just kept walking towards him, trying to engage him in a little fisticuffs, I would think.
Extracurricular activity. Tony wouldn't do it. Third. 16. Big rush. Landry down. Kiki Diella.
I'll tell you something. Kiki Diella did a great job coming in from the outside of the blitz. But as a result of what was happening before, Tony Fitzpatrick got double teamed, and the boys in line were going after you. See him there? They try and cut him down about the knees as Dialla comes in at the top of the picture to make the sack on Greg Landry.
For Kiki, his...
Joe McNeil now is back to receive the punt from Frank Corral. Frank, unfortunately for the Arizona Wranglers, has had a lot of work to do today punting the football.
McNeil is back. And he's backpedaling to the 22. Straight up the center, back to about the 30-yard line. Selwyn Drain makes the stop. It's 10-3. We're early in the third quarter, and the Gamblers have the football once again. Back at the Astrodome in Houston, Corey McFerrin, Lynn Swan, and Jim Bergamo, along with about 35,000 highly partisan Houston Gamblers fans. Do you know those people?
No, it's a cute Texan out here watching the football game, though.
Believe it or not, we've got 11 minutes and 42 seconds to go in the third quarter, and Jim Kelly has yet to throw a touchdown pass. Sanders got some room. Close to the first down, gain of about 8, maybe 9. Bruce Laird is there for Arizona.
Of course, that was the first play for them in the second half.
That's true. We'll give him some time. Kelly, of course, 44 touchdown passes this year. And no one in the history of professional football has ever thrown that many touchdown passes during the course of a regular season.
And of course, he broke the old record in the 16th ball game.
Exactly. Kelly, somebody had a hand on him, throws it out to Richard Johnson. Good move by Johnson, dives across midfield. And Richard, that's the kind of thing he does all the time. And Richard is a quality receiver.
Well, in yesterday's ball game we did with New Jersey and Philadelphia, one of the things about Herschel Walker they always tried to keep in mind was the fact he is so quick, you give him an opening, he'd go. In their last regular season game, he took a pass, had a low opening, went 50 yards for the touchdown. Now for Houston, they've got 4 receivers, but especially Johnson has that kind of speed, and Ricky Sanders, where you give them a little opening and they're gone.
Quick flip. That's Johnson, just what you're talking about. And Johnson down to the 37-yard line. That's a play that works almost every time for Houston.
Again, nice little ball control pass. You see him there, just yard off the line of scrimmage. He goes 4 or 5 yards downfield, and he's got the ball. Then he runs for another 4 or 5 yards.
And if Stan White isn't there to make the tackle, then you got a situation where Johnson's one-on-one with some secondary folks, and who knows what can happen.
Well, Johnson and Sanders in the slot, usually going to get a safety or a linebacker that has something to do with the coverage. They can outrun him.
First and 10, 37-yard line. A bullet pass to Scott McGee. 32-yard line.
I'll tell you, Darrell Davis did the right thing in not leaving Houston, because I don't think he can find another quarterback with the arm like Jim Kelly and receivers with that kind of speed in the immediate future to put the same offense on their football field.
They've got the right personnel.
I call a pass from Jim Kelly up in Chicago in 1983 when he came into a game to announce that he was signing with the USFL.
Right.
He threw me a pass, 55 yards, not a lot of loft to it, and a lot of power behind it. And he didn't even wind up to throw it.
Second and 5. Contact. Finger pointing.
Joe Ehrman, number 74, came barreling in because he felt someone on the offensive line.
Start. against the Gamblers.
The Gamblers moved, and he was correct, but he also took the opportunity to give Jim Kelly a little push. The fans here didn't like it, but when an opportunity presents itself, what do?
Usually take advantage. False start against the Gamblers. 5-yard penalty moves the ball back to the 37. There it is.
You see Ehrman coming in right there. Just a nice little shove. It didn't hurt Kelly.
And the fans here
embarrassed him a little bit.
Yeah, fans here reacting to it. They see it up on the big screen.
We're inside the 40-yard line.
2nd and 10. Kelly across the middle. Johnson, 15. Run out of bounds at the 12 by Luther Bradley. 25-yard gain, Kelly to Johnson.
He drops straight back, no rollout. He gets beyond the defensive back, number 25, Eddie Brown. Excellent pass by Kelly. Luther Bradley had the angle on Johnson. That's the nice little swim move to get inside, but watch how the pass zips right by Eddie Brown. Now it's a race. He's trying to find some room. Eddie Brown chasing. Johnson now 4 catches for 53 yards. Houston on the move. Someone else moves. Number 70, Kit Lathrop, jumps off sides to make contact.
This time Khalil is clapping.
Khalil is pleading his case.
Exactly. False start against the Gamblers. Still. All right.
Frank Khalil is out there throwing his helmet around. He's so frustrated. George Allen, a real motivational coach, tries to get his team fired up to play this football game from the sideline. Look at him, he's a cheerleader.
All right. Get him a pom-pom. Before the game, George was out there shaking hands with everybody, back slapping, let's go, come on, guys.
Well, George tries to keep his team emotionally fired up, and he believes in that kind of motivation. He's not a quiet coach like Landry on the sideline. He gets involved.
And talk about fired up. Listen to the crowd. 1st and 15. Fowler to about the 12. Lynn, if you were a receiver in the game today, could you play this offense? Would you enjoy this run and shoot offense of Houston?
Of course I'd enjoy it. If I played in the slot and could catch 100 passes. Take a look at this interior line blocking. I mean, that's what you need. You need time to throw the football. You see them right there driving people off the line of scrimmage, back away from the ball carrier, giving him time to get to the line of scrimmage and find a hole to pick up the extra yard. John Starworth, Jim Smith, now we always fought. We never got enough passes.
Receivers offense for sure. Kelly Sanders tries to sneak away, can't quite do it. Bruce Laird is there to grab him at about the 6-yard line. About 3 yards short of the first.
Well, Sanders and McGee had a little pick route going. Scott McGee, number 88. Sanders came underneath and received the pass, tried to turn upfield to get to the end zone, but he was caught on the ankles, could not get away.
Sanders, 4 catches for 27 yards.
Houston also had a 6.6 average per play, which is very high.
Might be tough for him to equal that output today. 3rd and 4. Let's see what they come up with. Kelly wants a timeout.
Well, there was only 4 seconds left on the clock. Kelly looked up. He had a man in motion, saw something he did not like, and said, we'll take a timeout right here.
Smart play. Kelly with some poise. He'll think it over. We'll see what they come up with when we come back. Only 6 teams still alive in the USFL hunt for the championship. Next week on Saturday, the Western Conference title, 3:30 Eastern Time. The winner of this ball game today against Los Angeles, Steve Young and the Express, the Eastern Conference championship game. Sunday, 2:30 Eastern Time. It'll be Philadelphia against the winner of the Birmingham Tampa Bay game. George Allen would like to make it next week. See if Kelly can get it off. It's deflected at the line in the big 3rd down play. Set up a 4th down situation. And Len, I wonder if they'll settle for 3 here. Tony Fritsch coming out. Apparently they will.
The way this ball game has been going, they had better settle for the 3. They only have 10 points right now in the ball game. They can't afford to pass up any kind of scoring opportunity. You see the flexion right there, number 70, Kit Latham gets up in the air. He was being blocked, but they always teach a defensive lineman, when you see that quarterback put that arm back and you can't get to him, get your hands up in the air, try and cut out, try and block the throwing lane.
Tony's third attempt of the day. It is up from 22. It's good. His second field goal of the afternoon. So Houston jumps out to a 10-point lead. Tony Fritz responsible for 6 of those 13 points as the Gamblers lead 13-3. Houston 13, Arizona 3. Gamblers would like to meet the LA Express next week. We've got about a quarter and a half left to keep that lead. Tolbert back to receive. Walters the kick. 6-yard line. Tolbert. Bang. He is hit hard at the 23-yard line. Van Hughes is there to make the hit. 18-yard return from Tolbert. Greg Landry comes on.
Actually, it looked like he ran into one of his own men, number 50, Dave Otten, or Olton rather, O-H-T-O-N, who was being blocked back. Had no place to go.
That's right. Spencer looking for somewhere to go. Nowhere. That's Hawkins trying to pick him up and set him down. Calvin Eason, the first man to greet Spence. Let's throw it now down to Jim Bergamo with Jim Kelly.
Strange game for you. You start off the game moving right down on the field, then you're stopped for the whole rest of the half. Now you come out and you move down again. What's the difference?
Tell you what, they're just coming at us, and they're a really tough team. It's just a matter of execution and give me some time to throw it. That's a big one.
All right, Jim. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Jim Kelly. He's thrown a touchdown in every game this year. Not this one yet. That's Clark bursting up the middle. Breaks one tackle. 40, 45. Up close to midfield. And Alan Clark. 5-10. Oh, we got some extracurricular activity. A fight breaking out at the 40-yard line. It's Mitchell in there along with Eason.
Selwyn Drain, number 20, the man from Arizona, did not like the way Eason came over and just shoved Clark out of bounds. Calvin Eason, had a hold of Clark. He's been all over the field. He had a hold of Alan Clark, who was running towards the sideline. He and Will Lewis were hanging on to him as he was running towards the sideline, got him out of bounds. Then when he was out of bounds, Calvin gave him a little extra shove very close to the bench, and Selwyn Drain, number 20, was right there on the sideline, and he took offense to it. You see it right there.
And Lorch is there. He doesn't like it.
Says, I don't go for that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you one thing. If Calvin is going to push someone, he ought to do it on his own sideline.
It's the wrong spot. Let's see what the officials come out. They're talking to both
teams. The officials marked an unnecessary roughness penalty. Unsportsmanlike
personal foul. Unnecessary roughness against the Gamblers. First down, Ashley.
Well, the official was right on top of that one.
It sure was. And a long game for Arizona. Now at the 32-yard line. Clark with a big play. And the penalty on Houston. Fans obviously not pleased. Movement. Play's going to stop. Flags everywhere. And things are heating up in the dome, let me tell you.
John Stadnick, the right tackle for the Arizona Wranglers, I believe he was the man that moved. He was moving up and down the defensive line, but of course they are allowed to move.
False start against Arizona.
Let me tell you right now about something that is definitely in the favor of the Houston Gamblers. The fact that we are playing in the Astrodome, a closed stadium. When the fans start making a lot of noise, it has no place to go, and it bounces back and forth across the field. They were upset, did not feel that Houston should have been assessed a 15-yard penalty. They started booing. I am sure no one could hear a word Greg Landry was saying at the line of scrimmage. Offensive player jumped too soon with all the defensive movement, a 5-yard penalty, and the fans are back at it again.
First and 15, 37-yard line. Eason. And that looked pretty clear from here.
Greg Landry went right after number 34, Eason. The post pattern has been open for the Wranglers throughout the afternoon, but they have failed to take advantage of it. Right here, Landry dropping straight back to pass. Gets the receiver open deep. The ball flutters a bit. Right there, the pass interference.
However, penalty against Arizona cancels out the interference against Eason, and it's still 1st and 15 from the 37. So consequently, a big break for Houston.
The emotion of a young football team when they get excited can sometimes work against them if they don't control it.
6:45 to go, 13-3, Houston leads. Spencer going around the right side, looks for an opening. Kiki Diala sends him out at about the 30-yard line.
We have action all over the field today. We see Ayala, number 31, inside linebacker. He's getting blocked a little bit, plays off the block, keeps floating to the outside, looking for Spencer, finds him on the outside. Spencer did a great job of picking up those yards. He had no blocking out in front of him. The defensive line was stringing the play out. He dipped inside, tried to draw the defensive players inside, then bounced back outside, did that 2 or 3 times before picking up 4 yards on the play.
Spencer not enjoying a big day. Landry flips it to Clark. They're going to call it back. A flag is thrown.
Time may have run out.
Getting a little sloppy. That's exactly right, Lynn. Houston fans reacting to every call by the men in the striped jerseys. George Allen not pleased, I'm sure. Doesn't show much emotion on the sideline. So now, ball is back on the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 18. Third-year man, Eastern Illinois, the leading sack man for Houston with 17.5, number 2 in the USFL, does his thing right here.
I talked to him before the game started. He's a smart young man. He watched film of Joe Ehrman and his techniques for rushing the passer because he felt that Joe Ehrman's best technique probably would be something he used every day at practice against his own offensive tackle.
Landry on 3rd and 21. Big play. Clark hit. Incomplete pass. Mike Mitchell is there to bump Clark. Hollis Hall.
Man who knocked the ball away.
And I'll tell you what. This is an Astrodome crowd that has been cheering like this for offense all year long, and today they're cheering for their defensive players.
Well, this football game is getting extremely physical, beyond what I expected this ball game to be. There are more hits going on away from the ball, people taking their shots. Tempers are a little hot right now. What they have to do is control it, move it in a positive direction, and try and get points out of it.
Corral. Eason is back and let it bounce out of bounds. Goes out at about the 16. Let's watch the hit. Clark about to receive, and Hall comes up to knock him silly.
He doesn't see him. The old rib shot right there. Clark makes the mistake of not catching it the first time he makes contact with it. He's bobbling the football. He never gains control of it. He's looking at it. It's a dream.
Let me tell you something. The Astrodome is alive. We're seeing some hitting. We're seeing some physical football. The score may be only 13-3, but that doesn't tell the story what's happening in the trenches here and on the football field.
And the team that usually hits the hardest and most aggressively throughout the day is a team that can come out on top. But for the most part, we're seeing some real sloppy play by the offense of the Arizona Wranglers.
Johnson coming out of the slot back position to get the handoff. Doesn't work for more than a couple. Stan White is there. Richard Johnson.
Well, Corey, Arizona came away with nothing, absolutely nothing, and they were in great field position to either come away with a touchdown or at least try a field goal. Now, you have to look at the ball where it is now, the way the defense has been playing. If they could hold Houston here, have them punt, they'll have the ball in excellent field position. But they're just not doing anything with it.
Houston, you can get it rolling.
See, right there, he just splits. The cornerback gets in between he and the safety. Number 25, Eddie Brown. Bruce Laird picks up the pass. They make it look easy. Oh, the Birmingham Stallions. Joe Cribbs having a pretty good day. 27-11 over the Tampa Bay Bandits.
I'm sure Philadelphia is tuning into that one today. The pitch, Fowler picks his way across midfield, down close to the 45, to about the 47-yard line. Eddie Brown moves him out.
I see some wild stuff down there. Mark Boobin goes out of bounds on his own sideline, and he's pushing his own players out of the way like they're the opponents.
Guys are fired up here.
Mark probably trying to get his teammates fired up. A partisan crowd here at the Astrodome, watching Jim Kelly lead his team down on a pretty substantial drive at this moment, just into the 46-yard line of the Arizona Wranglers.
2nd and 5. Kelly throws it out. That is Sanders, very close to the first down. Make it for Dan. Kelly and the Gamblers try to keep it moving. Let's now go to ABC Sports Control. Jim Lampley.
All right, gentlemen, here is a look at the 3-yard touchdown run for Joe Cribbs. It came after Chuck Clanton's second interception of the game. As you know, it made it 27-11. You know those dry spells that John Reeves Haslin's won? He's in one now. Hasn't completed a pass in the third quarter. So Tampa Bay's up against it. Back to Houston.
Well, Jimmy, John Reeves is a man that, sometimes loses things. And apparently today, he just has not been able to get it together.
Houston got the first down on the Kelly to Verdun pass. Jimmy got some pressure. Throws it off the Fowler at the 40. Trips up at the 36-yard line. That's Lance Shields making the stop. Let's go down now to Jim Bergama with one of the leaders on this Houston defensive club, Tony Fitzpatrick.
All right, thanks, Corey. Tony, you're an expansion team. They're a veteran team, but a lot of emotions going on right now.
Yeah, there sure is. You know, a lot with the guy over me, Huffman. I guess I had a pretty good game against him last time we played him earlier in the season. He's just trying to pay me back. You know, a lot of cheap shots, and so it's the same thing with the center, Petit. You know, Sullivan got hurt, so things are going well though. I'm getting back in there. I'm getting my shots on him too.
All right, thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
I wonder if we can get a hat like that. 2nd and 6. Kelly, drop play, Fowler, a couple. Short of the first by about 2.
And right now, things are working well again for the Houston Gamblers. They started this drive at about their 16-yard line. Now they have it at about the 34-yard line, 33-yard line of the Arizona Wranglers.
Less than 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Gamblers lead by 10. It's 3rd and 3. stop Kelly. Kelly gonna run across the 30. He's got the first. He slides down to 24. All kinds of room. Takes advantage. And Houston has another first down.
Joe Ehrman and number 25, Eddie Brown, come in for the stop. Kelly, Jim Kelly out of Miami, went to his slide to protect himself. Brown and Ehrman made more contact with each other than they did with Kelly. And Kelly popped up very quickly, started talking to the official, wanted a little more protection. Wanted just a bit more.
Ball on the 25-yard line. They give to Sanders, trying to turn the corner. Going to get a block, and Sanders pushes up to about the 18-yard line, where Carl Allen makes the tackle.
Well, Corey, that play for Sanders is really the equivalent of a sweep for any other football team. He goes in motion, he gets into the backfield, they hand him the ball, and he takes off and runs behind number 46, Todd Fowler, as a lead blocker. The line's pulling. It's just like pass protection with a moving pocket for them. They get to the outside. It all looks the same, except Sanders is carrying the ball.
Clearance for Dan, top of your screen. That's Sanders in motion. They give to Fowler. Fowler pounds off one man. He keeps driving inside the 10. Great running from Todd Fowler. Laird and Brown make the hit to bring Fowler down. Clock runs out just now in the third quarter as Houston's moving the football. They're 10 yards away from a touchdown. United States Football League playoff game between the Wranglers and the Gamblers will continue after this message. Great shot from the Goodyear blimp above. We were just kidding. I didn't even know that was going to happen, man. We couldn't, we tried to get the blimp, but it wouldn't fit inside the dome, and that was the next
I don't believe it.
come up with.
We were duped by our own producer. A shot outside the Houston Astrodome. A picture, a postcard held by one of the high rollers, cheerleaders for the Houston Gamblers.
First and 10 for Houston. We're back inside the Astrodome. Fowler powering up close to the 5. Bruce Laird is there. Fowler grinding out some tough yardage near the goal line. Just begun the fourth quarter. Houston leads 13-3.
Now what's happening is that Houston is doing what I'm sure Arizona would have liked to have done. Get off to a lead in this ball game, then possess the football. I've seen it in the key ball games between Tampa and New Jersey, between Tampa and New Orleans. I saw it in the key ball game between New Jersey and Philadelphia. Team out in front, possessing the football for a 20-play drive for 5 to 7 minutes.
Kelly, can he get out of the way? No, he is sacked. Ed Smith, the outside linebacker, comes in, makes a big play. Brings Kelly down way back at about the 15. Ed Smith, perhaps the best linebacker in this Arizona defense. Played for the Colts and the Cardinals. Came in with 6 sacks, and here he goes.
Out of Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, where they don't necessarily get all the greatest talented ball players in the world, but what they do so very often is get the ball players in there that can handle a very intense workload. They give you a lot of formations on defense. George McIntyre, very excellent coach there, works his kids quite a bit. Smart.
Third and 15. Sanders in motion.
Time runs out on the clock. Big mistake.
Against Houston. So it'll be third and 20 for Jim Kelly. He's not pleased with himself.
Well, they had the ball goal to goal at the 5-yard line. They're just beyond the 5-yard line, about the 7. Now they're back at the 20-yard line. Third down, rather.
The sack.
This will be the second time in the ball game on a major drive by Arizona. A major drive by Houston that Arizona has stopped it.
They had it once before in the 16-yard line after the interception in the first half. They couldn't convert, missed the field goal. Here they had it down close to the 5. Now it's third and 20. Can they do something? The pitch out to Fowler. You don't see it very often. Fowler, 10. Gets down to about the 7-yard line. back to where they started.
But now it's fourth down.
Eddie Brown over there, Lance Shields.
Fowler doing a good job. A little bit of the Houston version of an option play.
So it's 4th and 8. Tony Fritz, this one will be 25 yards. His third of the day, 4th attempt. Can he make it? It looks good. It is. 25-yard field goal attempt. And Tony Fritz takes his helmet off for us. You can see him. Houston takes the lead 16-3 with 13:37. A consensus showdown with the Los Angeles Express. That's what they want to have next Saturday. The kick from Houston to Arizona.
Little squib kick on the ground. I just think he never got a piece of that one, Jim. Sorry, Corey.
Call me anything you want, Lynn. Mac Boatner was the man to grab that football. Runs it back to about the 32-yard line.
Now Arizona has to get something going here. They let Houston possess that ball on that last drive. 13 plays for 77 yards, eating up 7 minutes and 19 seconds on the clock. And they have the lead.
Landry lets it rip. Incomplete. Intended for Tremaine Johnson at about the 40-yard line of Houston. You know, George Allen coming into this game this week said, hey, we can move offensively against Houston. We've done it against all the great teams in the league, but they have not been able to do it successfully today. Houston's defense has really been tough.
They did it against Houston the first time around, losing that ball game by 13 in the fourth quarter. But here today, they have not been able to do it. They made mistakes that hurt them. They've been unproductive. Landry has not thrown the ball accurately at all throughout this ball game.
2nd and 10. That's Clark trying to find some room. It's a couple of yards to about the 43. Let's go down to the sideline with Jim Bergamo. Jimmy?
All right, thank you very much, Corey. With me, Kit Lathrop. And Kit, you have to be pleased. Houston's moving, but you're denying them the end zone.
Yeah, we are. We got to do better, though. We got to take the scores away, and we got to put some points on the board.
What's been your success? How come you've been able to keep them from scoring the touchdown?
The DBs are playing a real good game, and our ends are getting good upfield pressure.
All right, thanks a lot, Kit.
All right.
Houston averaging 34.5 points a game. Only been able to muster 16 today, but they still lead by 13 points. 3rd and 8. Big play, Landry. Coming to the near side. Oh, my, what a catch. 42-yard line. Lenny Willis. No, they're not going to allow it. The first indication was a reception at about the 42. Arizona sideline upset. Little taunting from Andy Hawkins, number 59.
The official behind the play, who could not actually see the football because of the body of Lenny Willis being stretched out, called it an incomplete pass. The official who had the best angle was marking the ball as a complete reception. I don't know whether he said he juggled the football and didn't have hold of it, or whether he said he was out of bounds. I think in either case, the official was wrong in that call. It was a complete pass. I did an interview with Kit Lathrop. Kit would never say it. But what he meant down there, I'm sure what he's thinking is, our defense is doing a good enough job. Their offense is not putting the points on the scoreboard. They're falling short.
McNeil back to receive the punt. Going to let it go, and it might be down. It is at about the 2-yard line. Randy Johnson, number 24, gets down there at about the 2, where Houston will take over. A 56-yard punt from Corral. Good job by Johnson. Houston pinned deep in their own end zone. They'll take over with 12:14 to go.
Jim Lampley again in New York. Suddenly it turns around for John Reeves. A drive kept alive by 4th down fake punt run ends in a 20-yard touchdown pass from Reeves to Wilfred Morgan. They failed on the 2-point try, but they've gotten to within 10. Still in the 3rd, 27-17. Back to McFerrin and Swan.
Back at the Astrodome. Now there's a stat. Tim Spencer, Kevin Long, both 1,000-yard rushers this year. A total of 26 yards today between them. Talking about the outstanding job Houston has done. That stat reflects it as well as any. 2-yard line.
think prematurely took off, trying to anticipate the snap, trying to get in there and throw Jim Kelly for a loss.
Boy, Nelson get out of that 2-yard situation there. Wilbur Young, 13-year veteran out of William Penn. You know what William Penn is, Flynn?
Pennsylvania.
You know what? It's not.
It's not?
It's in Iowa.
You knew I'd say Pennsylvania.
That was a bait, and you took it.
I have no idea where William Penn is.
11:56 to go. They're probably watching us there today. 1st and 5 after the penalty. Fowler, not much. Lathrop is there.
Well, he won't need much to get 5 yards in a series of 3 downs.
11:40 to go in the game. It's 16-3. The Gamblers lead.
In a crucial game at the time in Tampa Bay, playing against the New Orleans Breakers, the Tampa Bay Bandits needed a big drive in the 4th quarter. They put one together for 70 yards, using 20 plays, eating up the clock. If Houston does that here, it's over for Arizona.
2nd and 2. Kelly will throw, and he's got McGee for the first down across the 20-yard line. McGee sprinting across the middle. Kelly hits him. Houston's out of the hole, and they got a first down.
Well, Carl Allen and Lance Shields boxed him in on this 14-yard gain. You watch him, he'll make the catch. He'll try and juke. Right here, Allen, or excuse me, that's Smith right there, tries to move there. But Carl just stands there, holds his ground, because he knows Lance Shields, number 22, is on the way.
McGee, number 3 in receptions behind Johnson and Sanders on the year for Houston. That's Johnson in motion. The give on the draw to Fowler. That play's always good for about 4, it seems, if not more. Ed Smith makes the stop.
Well, after you get that passing game working, you have that secondary a little concerned. They're backing up, respecting the speed of the wide receivers. Jack Pardee looks on because he knows his short game has been working well, so the linebackers can't afford to take a lot of chances. Then you send Sanders and Johnson, your slot backs, deep down the center of the field. You've already hit them a couple of times. You've hit Scott and you've hit McGee, who are the same person, Scott McGee. Then you send them out as decoys, and you give the ball a foul. Let them keep running the football and run the clock out.
2nd and 6. Kelly going to scramble. 30, where he's tackled at about the 33 by Ed Smith. You saw the graphic a minute ago. He's very close to the first down, incidentally. You saw the graphic a minute ago. It is a first down for Houston as Kelly again shows his versatility, using his head and his legs. So where Pardee is 3-0 against George Allen. Those games were an NFL exhibition game, an NFL regular season game, and the game earlier this year in the USFL. George and Jack, as we mentioned earlier, go back a long way. Their first connection in Los Angeles when Pardee was an outstanding linebacker, and George was the head coach after coming out from Chicago, where he was the defensive coordinator and personnel man for the Bears for several years. Fowler puts the head down.
Well, they're just trying to grind this game down to its finish right now. Giving the ball to Fowler, letting him take on the burden right now, the workload. 2nd down, he picks up 5 yards on the play, bringing up a 2nd and 5. But more importantly, if he continues to have this kind of success running the football, the defensive team of Arizona has to gear their defense to stop the run. Again, that leaves wide open the short passing game.
And that's what made this offense so effective all year long. Johnson trying to deke a little bit, move a little bit, can't do anything. Bruce Giesling, number 58, is there to make the stop. Loss of a couple.
Well, folks,
hey,
if I tell you that this is a big 3rd down play, I'm only telling you what you already know. If Houston can get the ball just past the 44-yard line, they will have a first down, maintain possession. 7 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock in the 4th quarter. They lead by a score of 16-3. If Arizona can stop them, they might have a chance if they can score quickly once they take possession.
3rd down, 8. Good rush, but Kelly gets it off, and Fowler drops the
fails in his attempt to become one of the Mouseketeers. He's already too tall. He weighs too much. He's not quite as fast, and he dropped an easy pass that time. A big break for the Wranglers. Their defense didn't stop him. A miscue by the Wranglers.
Walters will punt it off. Eddie Brown is back. Kick is up. It's a terrible kick. Going to be out at about the 43 or 4 Arizona. Let's see what the referee marks. He's going to go all the way back to midfield, I believe, where he feels the ball went out of bounds. A 15-yard punt, and that was the first time, believe it or not, that Houston has punted the ball today. So Arizona with great field position at midfield will take over. There you see the two head coaches, Jack Pardee on your left, George Allen on your right. George down 13 points, trying to get his guys psyched up. Clapping, backslap, getting everybody ready to go, because if they don't do it the next 7 minutes and 29 seconds, their season is over.
The student and the mentor. Very often the student has a few tricks up his sleeve that he's never shared with the boss.
50-yard line for Arizona. Landry over the middle. Wicker, he's got him. And Wicker inside the 25, down to the 22, where Tommy Myers makes the stop. We were just mentioning, Lynn, that Arizona, if they come out quickly and get 6 on the board, we've got ourselves a football game. 29-yard completion. Here it is.
That's Paul Wicker. I believe that's only his second catch of the ball game. And I question why they haven't used him more throughout this ball game. He has been an outstanding performer since he came to the Arizona team, which was the Chicago team in 1983 out of Norwich University.
22-yard line. Spencer and Long are your running backs. That's Spencer up the middle. Gets to the 20, not much more.
The difference in strategies and execution of strategies in this ball game is the fact that Houston has been able to set up everything they've wanted to run. Arizona has not set up anything. They have not established a running game. They have not really established a dominant passing game yet. After one successful pass, they try and come at you with a quick draw. It takes time to set up a play like that.
2nd and 8. Spencer again, this time's got some room. 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Arizona.
So they needed one more play to set up the quick draw for a touchdown. Well, I guess the last thing they expected was to see Spencer come back with the same play, just a quick draw up the middle. They were probably looking for a pass all the way. A great play call by Greg Landry.
Tim Spencer, 20 yards for the touchdown. The lead rusher in the Western Conference. He's got some speed.
He ran that one with that will not be denied attitude.
He sure did.
If someone had stepped in his way that time, he would have stopped it. Rolled right over.
Corral is on for the extra point. It's a big one. It is good. So with 6 minutes and 11 seconds, we've got a football game and a half. Houston leads by just 6 points. It is 16-10. Let's watch it again.
Tim Spencer out of Ohio State gets good blocking, gets right in between the linebackers and beyond them before they can get a hand on him. Spikes the football, knows now his team is in the running.
3 plays, 50 yards. They had to do it quickly, and they did. The key play, Tim Spencer up the middle for 20 yards and the touchdown. We now have a 16-10 ball game. Corral kicks it off. It's a deep one. Clearance for Dan goes back way deep in the end zone. He will not elect to run it out. So Houston takes over on the 20-yard line. And now the pressure's on the Arizona defense. If they can stop them here quickly, that football back for the offense, look out.
Jack Pardee, looking at his team, knows the importance of that last possession and that third down play in which Fowler dropped the pass that could have sustained that drive and prevented Arizona from taking over, getting possession, then a poor punt, which gave them the ball at midfield. 3 plays later, they scored. Now Jim Kelly has to take control of his team, execute a long drive down the field, and get points.
20-yard line. Kelly, Fowler, this time he grabs it. 25, 30, 32-yard line. Carl Allen makes the stop. Let's hit the sideline. Jim Bergamo.
All right, Corey, with me, Tim Spencer. And Tim, you've got to feel awfully good that after an afternoon of frustration, 120-yard run, and you're right back in the ballgame.
We never thought that we were out of the game. You know, we ran the play 2 times in a row. Second time, I was kind of leery about the call because they had stopped it, but it was a good call.
What about the fact that you've been pretty shut down, you and Long, all day?
Well, you know, they just been playing great. You know, you got to give it to them, and we haven't really been coming off the ball.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate you talking to us.
I'm sure Tim will take a subpar day if they can come back and win this thing. Up to about the 35-yard line. The clock ticking. 5 minutes, 13 seconds to go.
Jack Pardee, I'm sure he can sense that across the way on the Arizona Wranglers sideline, players are entreating their defensive team to stop the Houston Gamblers, give them one more opportunities. We could hear them in the background on the microphones down on the field. Give us another shot, get the ball back, a touchdown, an extra point, and we'll have the lead.
A crowd of just under 33,000 in attendance at the Astrodome today. No one has left. Kelly on 2nd and 7. He's getting chased out there, and he is brought down by Carl Lorch and John Lee.
They blew the whistle as Carl Lorch, number 64, John Lee, had him in the grasp. They didn't bring him down. He was struggling to maintain his balance.
Big play.
A very big play. That takes him all the way back to the 25-yard line. 5 sacks now for the Arizona Wranglers. 41 yards in losses with those sacks for the Houston Gamblers.
Another one of those proverbial big play third down situations, but this one truly is. 3rd and 17, 4 minutes, 14 seconds to go. Kelly firing far side. He's got McGee.
He's got McGee, but McGee does not have the first down.
They are short by a yard, maybe a yard and a half. Now, if you're Miles Davis, if you're Jack Pardee, you punt it away. Or so it seems. That decision is not met with much enthusiasm by the crowd here.
That's Richard Johnson. They're working on his knee. He may have twisted it, bruised it to a certain degree. I don't know exactly what they're doing to it. I didn't even see him come out of the ball game.
4:07 to go. Houston's going to give the ball back to Arizona. Unless they've got something funny planned. I don't think they would. No. Walters again. A poor kick. Not what Houston needed. Let's see where the referee marches. Coming down to about the 48-yard line, 47-yard line. And the Gamblers fans are upset.
2 identical drives on the part of the Houston Gamblers, resulting in punts. Walters not getting good punt. You see there, he's very upset with himself. No need for me to expound on it. That picture tells it all. And no one is going to be more difficult on himself than that young man. He just does. He knows he didn't get a good part of it. Darrell Walters.
A 15-yard kick a few minutes ago. A 13-yard kick there. Arizona on the 47-yard line. Less than 4 minutes to go. Landry is sacked. Peyton, Crosby are there.
Well, Pete Caton, second leading sacker in the USFL, number 1 in his ball club, comes in to grab Landry by the shoelaces. So he couldn't go anywhere. You see Fitzpatrick putting the pressure from one side, Caton grabbing him from the other. Hosea Taylor coming on for the final punch.
4th sack of the day for Houston. They've dropped Landry for a total of 30 yards. This place is electric. 2nd and 14, 3.5 to go. Houston leads 16-10. Landry over the middle, caught. Great catch. Doug Dennison out of the backfield. He's got it at the 37-yard line. You hear in the background the audio from the Arizona sideline. They are moving 21 yards to the 37. The clock is ticking. 3:08 to go.
You see the play there. Dennison, he's in there to catch the ball. He goes up between number 25, Hollis Hall. Here goes number 37, Tommy Myers, who's the other safety in the ball game. Lenny Willis.
24-yard line. Good for another first down. It also stops the clock.
The game has changed on the momentum of one drive by the Arizona Wranglers, a 3-play drive, 50 yards for a touchdown, just over a minute. The offense finally got the spark they needed. They're alive now, 2:42 in the game. They're driving to try and take the lead for the first time.
What a turnaround. 23-yard line. It's Kevin Long trying to turn the corner. Good cutback. Moves all the way up to the 15-yard line. And this crowd is beginning to quiet down. Mike Hawkins makes the stop with help from Tommy Myers. Greg Landry, the crafty old pro, enjoying his finest season in professional football. Came in with 26 touchdowns on the year.
You can see the difference in the sidelines right now. The Arizona sideline, people are up. The expectation, the hope, the desire that the offensive team is going to drive. They're on their feet trying to encourage their team. On the other sideline, the Houston Gamblers, many of those players on their knees, sitting on the bench, dreading what they're looking at right now. That man, Walters, very disappointed with himself. 2 bad kicks in a row, one for 15, one for 13. Giving Arizona field position. They are now knocking on the door, the ball on the 15-yard line.
Walters out of Rice here in Houston, a 41-yard average coming in, which is good. The only thing I can think of is perhaps his concentration today, kicking off as well as punting, maybe lost a little bit having to take care of both duties.
It could have been that. It could also be the fact that he was trying so very hard to get the real big punt. He wanted to punt of about 50, 55 yards, one of those boomers down the side to back up the Arizona Wranglers to make them go the long route. And trying to do that, he just mistimed it, got the ball on the side of his foot. He was trying to angle it towards that sideline. Instead, he shot it out of bounds too soon.
Jack Pardee, Houston, Jim Kelly, what a year they've had. Regardless of what happens here in the final 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It's a year that professional football fans will long remember. Jim Kelly with 44 touchdown passes has yet to throw one today. Greg Landry going to try to push his team across. 2nd and 2. First down, Spencer, and then some. Down to about the 10-yard line.
Look back in the first half when it was coming to a close. The Arizona Wranglers, you see the time left, 2 minutes and 10 seconds in the 4th period. Houston calls a timeout. Arizona had a chance to either go for a touchdown or take a better chance at the 3 points. They opted to go for the 3 points, cutting the lead from 10-0 to 10-3. Keeps them within range. Now that 3 points looms very big because with a touchdown here in the extra point, they go ahead in the ball game. Had they attempted to go for the touchdown and failed, they would have come away with nothing, and right now they'd be trailing instead of by 6, by 9. Score on the Tampa Bay Bandits and Birmingham Stallion football game. The Birmingham Stallions out to a 30-17 lead in the 4th quarter. Cliff Stout, Joe Cribbs, Jim Smith.
Quite a team.
Little Joy Jones out of the University of Alabama. Must be having one heck of a day. The defense has to be playing very well, too, to stop a potent Tampa Bay offense.
Jack Pardee. He won the World Football League championship with Florida. He coached the Chicago Bears, the Washington Redskins. Served a short stint with San Diego.
You see the timeout situation right there. Arizona, 3 timeouts remaining in the ball game. 2 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock. But Houston, should they get the ball back after a touchdown by Arizona, has no timeouts left, a hurry-up offense, and they're going to have to get the ball out of bounds to stop the clock, or the clock will stop when they get a first down inside the last 2 minutes.
One thing about Landry, he's been through all this before. He's played for 16 years. He's not the kind of guy to be rattled. 1st and 10. Nothing.
Tony Fitzpatrick, number 62. Came storming in from his tackle position, the left tackle position, to make the big stop. And now we're at the 2-minute warning of the ball game.
Fitzpatrick fakes the hit. Todd Spencer. We've got 2 minutes to go in this football game. Houston leads by 6, but Arizona is knocking. Will it be Arizona? Will it be Houston? We got 2 minutes to figure it out. Houston right now with a 6-point advantage. Jack Pardee wiping his brow. Here we go. 2nd and 11.
Covered by number 35, Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell was right there with him as he dove into the air. Lenny Willis came down on his hip. Look at the pressure here. Jose Taylor coming in from the outside. Lenny Willis going up, trying for the one-handed catch. He's just too far away from it. Starts towards the sideline. He's back in the huddle. And now Arizona will take one of its 3 remaining timeouts with 1 minute, 54 seconds on the clock to regroup. Get a little rest, and then go after it one more time.
They got 2 shots at it, Len. It's 3rd and 11. If they don't go this time, they'll do it on 4th down, I am sure. 1:54 remaining in the game. It's a 3rd down play. You see Arizona's 3rd down efficiency stat.
They came into the ball game 46% on 3rd down. Houston holding its opponent to 35% on 3rd down situations.
The Houston fans on their feet. That's Ricker in motion. Landry looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Arizona.
Who scores it? Number 21, Doug Dennison.
Doug Dennison, the touchdown. Streaking across the middle. Landry hooks up the first touchdown pass of the afternoon. It comes at 1:49. The ball game now is all tied up at 16. The Arizona Wranglers en masse come down to greet Dennison in the end zone. You see it one more time.
Landry gets a time. You see Dennison the crossing route. Everybody else is going to the left. Dennison came underneath to the right. He caught it. He puts it in one hand. He knows he's going in for the score. But right now, it hinges on the foot of Frank Corral. Novo Bojovic missed 3 in overtime yesterday. Frank Corral was talking about that before the game started, how important the pressure is to a kicker.
Here we go. Good.
Extra point, a piece of cake.
Arizona goes up 17-16. They've been struggling all game long. Suddenly, the offense untracked here late in the 4th quarter. I tell you what, with 1:49, don't you think for a second that the Gamblers, even though they're without timeouts, can't go down the field and set up, if not for a field goal, if not for a touchdown, at least a field goal. 17-16.
There's Jack Pardee. Let's take another look at the touchdown. Landry getting excellent protection right here. He has enough time for the pattern to develop. No pressure. He gets it off. It wobbles, but it wobbles right into the arms of Dennison. He and Clark have come on this ball game to really spark the offense of the Arizona Wranglers. He gets in for the catch and the touchdown. 1:49 left to go in the ball game. And it is amazing how this football team, the Arizona Wranglers, could have played actually a very poor football game up until the last 2 series of plays and still be within striking range. Again, the defense of the Arizona Wranglers did an excellent job of holding the Houston Gamblers to 16 points so far in the ballgame.
8-play, 54-yard drive took them to 11. Dennison, 11 yards from Landry. The Wranglers, early in the year, written off, but they're back, winning 6 of the last 8, 4 of their last 4. Deep in the end zone, Verdun will not run it out. Houston will take over, 1st and 10 at the 20. With 1:49 seconds to go. Jim Kelly, who is not enjoying a particularly outstanding afternoon for him, talking to Mouse Davis on the sidelines. Mouse, the architect of this run-and-shoot offense. It's garnered so much publicity over the years, set so many records.
Well, that's a pretty good day, actually, 20 for 29.
But no touchdowns, which is unusual for him. And I'm sure if they can somehow get it down here, Jim doesn't really care about those individual stats. He wants to keep playing some football.
63% passer, 44 touchdowns to his credit on the regular season.
Kelly, look out, flips it out to Fowler across the 20, the 25. He's hit hard and brought down at the 27-yard line. Did you see the way he threw that thing out, Lane?
Well, he was under pressure. I think that was number 70, Kit Lathrop, and it was. It came barreling in, had him. Thank God Jim Kelly had a screen called and a receiver right there to flip the ball to.
The one advantage Houston has here, their whole offense is like a 2-minute offense. So there's nothing really new about this pressure situation, trying to go somewhere in a little matter of time. McGee across the 40, first down for Houston.
And in the final 2 minutes of the ball game, the USFL rule states the clock will stop while the chains are moved. The chains are now being set. 1:18 on the clock. The offense is set. They're ready to go, and the clock is moving.
These fans are going crazy. 1:10 to go. Kelly, pass. Is it caught?
Yes.
Yes. They're going to give it to him.
Scott McGee, number 88. Jim Kelly rolling out of the pocket. On the run, he had pressure. Just cocked that arm back and fired the bullet to number 88, the lower receiver from Eastern Illinois. On the run. Look at the velocity on that pass. He just gets it in there. You see McGee gets his hands underneath the football. It's a clean catch. First down.
38-yard line, 54 seconds, 53 seconds. Kelly going to put it up again. He's going long, overthrown. That was McGee again. Try to loft it out and have McGee run under it. About a 25-yard pass. Didn't work. Stops the clock. 48 seconds to go. Second and 10 on the 38.
The clock stops. Lance Shields was the man who was covering on the play. Shields had his back to the quarterback. He couldn't see it. Kelly just got out there a bit too far for Scott McGee. Scott McGee might have been a little bit winded. You see there, 7 catches, 112 yards in a day. That's Darrell Mouse Davis, his Mouseketeers. Led by Jim Kelly, the arm for the Mouseketeers. Phenomenal season. Today the drama is set. Jim Kelly, the Mouseketeers, can they bring him back? 48 seconds on the clock.
Second and 10. Kelly over 300 yards. He's pumping, but he's going to have to run, but he can't get out of bounds, so the clock continues to tick down. Could be a fatal mistake. Under 40 seconds. The crowd sensing the danger involved here. If you're thinking ahead to Tony Fritz, he's made 3 field goals, 38, 22, and 35. He's missed from 47. Third and 7. Kelly rolling near side. He's under pressure. He will be sacked. John Lee and Mark Boobin for Arizona come up with a clutch play as Kelly desperately searching for a receiver.
They're rolling out. He couldn't find anyone. His receivers are tired. They're running deep downfield. Then they have to come back to the line of scrimmage. 10 seconds on the clock.
This could be it. Kelly. Incomplete. No, it's caught. Intercepted.
Eddie Brown, number 25. Back there in the coverage. Kelly under pressure. Knew he had to get the ball away deep downfield. It had to be in the end zone. Thought his receiver was going deep down the sideline. Sanders was in the general vicinity. Threw the ball in the air because of the pressure. It was either that or get sacked, and he surely would have lost. The clock would have run out then.
Wow.
Threw the ball away. Eddie Brown back in coverage. The Arizona Wranglers, with 3 seconds on the clock, have a 1-point lead, and they will be the winners in this divisional playoff game.
There it is.
There's the pass. Sanders, extremely tired, I'm sure. Just could not get downfield for it. Eddie Brown tries not to go out of bounds, but he steps on the chalk.
What a turnaround we've seen. George Allen congratulating his team on the sideline with 3 seconds to go. All it is now is a simple fall to the ground by Landry. Jim Kelly on the sidelines, and that's going to do it. 1 second, and there it is. The gun has sounded. The Arizona Wranglers in a wild turn of events late in the 4th quarter. Look at the smile on George Allen's face. Jack Pardee can hardly believe it. 17-16. Arizona has won. They will advance to the Western Conference Championship game next Saturday against the Los Angeles Express.
An exciting ball game. Jack Pardee, I'm sure, disappointed. But no one probably is more disappointed as number 1, Dale Walters, the punter for the Houston Gamblers. You see the coach and his student, midfield, Players, fans, the press all around. Jim Kelly, the quarterback for the Houston Gamblers.
George Allen grabbing some cheerleaders. Look at that.
The cheerleaders are grabbing George.
Okay.
George, you want to trade places?
A little bit of both. George Allen is advancing in the playoffs. What a story. Early in the year, they were less than 2 games, or I should say 2 games under 500. People said, hey, what's going on, George Allen, here in Phoenix? We want a winning football team. You promised us one. Well, by the end of the year, they've come up with one. Winners in the regular season of 6 of the final 8 games, winning 4 straight to finish us out. And then here, late in the second half, after struggling all game long, the offense finally comes alive. And Arizona turns this thing around to beat the Houston Gamblers in front of a highly partisan crowd here at the Astrodome. Arizona with 14 fourth-quarter points comes up with a 1-point victory over the Houston Gamblers. It'll be Arizona and Los Angeles in the Western Conference Finals next weekend. George Allen, a winner over his former player, Jack Hardy. Let's now go to the sidelines, and Jim Bergamo with a very happy veteran by the name of Greg Landry.
One of the stars of the game for sure, Corey. Greg, I guess in the end, the playoff experience and savvy of the veteran team paid out over the rookie team.
Well, I think it was more our defense really played great football all afternoon long. They kept us in the game. Offensively, we were making mistakes all over the place, but we finally got it together the last couple drives, and Doug Dennison came up with that big catch for us, and Tim Spencer ran one in. So that's what how we've been playing the last couple of weeks. We've been playing real good team football.
Was there ever a point in the game that you said, hey, we really dug ourselves a hole and we can't get out?
Well, as long as our defense, every time offensively we got down, our defense seemed to come up with a big play that needed to lift up the whole ball club. And they've been carrying the team most of the year. And today, finally, they carried us for 58 minutes, and then we finally helped out.
In the end, offensively, why were you able to move where you had problems earlier?
Well, maybe it was the same problem we had earlier in the season. We were making a lot of mistakes. We had some mental errors. We really couldn't get going on first down. We were coming up in 2nd and long, and they were putting in that extra defensive back, and we just couldn't really get any momentum going. But it finally came through.
All right, Greg, congratulations, and good luck next week against Los Angeles.
Thanks very much.
Back to you.
All right, Arizona today does something no other team this year, at least the second half of the year, was able to do, and that is stop Houston's offense, and luckily for the Wranglers, their offense finally came alive late in the game. They win it by 1.
Well, as Greg Landry said, that the offensive team did not play great football until the last couple of possessions. They were aided by the fact that they had excellent field position as a result of some poor punts by Dale Walters, and then some great running by Spencer, a big catch by Doug Dennison, and they came out on top. The defense of Arizona Wranglers, again, played an excellent ball game, always stayed within range, gave their offense the chance to score when they had to.
Houston led this ball game 16-3 early in the 4th. We're going to watch the final play of the game with the clock ticking down. There are no timeouts remaining. Kelly puts it up, and Eddie Brown is there.
Eddie Brown's there to pick it off. He seals the victory. He would have liked to have stayed in bounds to seal it right there, but he stepped out of bounds 3 seconds. Landry just fell on the ball, and that was the end of the game.
Touchdowns by Tim Spencer and Doug Dennison do it in the 4th quarter. 17-16 Arizona. The Wranglers and the Express for the Western Conference title next week.